I'm waiting. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Awaken Hidden Truth with Scott Limbriel.
And Perry Bence.
Yeah, and me, Perry Vince, Perry Banks. How are you, Mr. Limbriel?
I'm doing. Oh, let me answer it this way. I'm on planet Earth
Yes,
along with
we are.
everybody else temporarily. But if I wasn't here, I could not have had the experiences I've had and spent a lifetime writing these 4 books and screenplays for film development that are based on them. I couldn't have be a publisher. I couldn't have published these books. I couldn't have done any of this. They are set up and designed to be channels of the omnipresent living energy that is behind and supporting the whole creation. So if it's moving in a new direction, which it is through the solar system and it's passing through Earth, it is the one saving grace we all have to recover, remembering who we are, what we are that is one of these bodies, and how it runs these bodies and where it started and how long ago. If people want to remember that, they have to stop behaving like lunatics in an insane asylum. They have to stop abusing animals and plants and sky and air and water and each other because it's required of us. If we want to play among the stars in space, we want to go to other dimensions and higher heavens, we have to be trusted with the experiential knowledge to know how to do things that is in harmony and co-creatively involved with many other beings. Some beings millions of years more advanced than we are. Such beings do not look down on us. They see our potential to be like them. So they can help us become that way. But I do know this about my work with master teachers from other worlds and other dimensions. They will not set anybody free or give them power or turn on certain higher faculties that are dormant until the person's able to utilize them correctly and wisely and keep it permanent. There's no point for a master teacher to help set anybody free if they're just going to screw it up 3 weeks later because they still have subconscious negative fears that are driving their decision making. That's why you don't see a planet of people even remembering they aren't in this life. They didn't originate on this earth. Whether it's Putin in Russia or the guy in China, Xi, or however you pronounce it, or the president of the United States, or anybody, they don't remember who they are. Almost all of them. Because they're not ready to stop doing what is creating their negative trap in space-time. People put out imagination and actions which harm life. They creates a repercussion in space-time that harms them, whether it's health, longevity, short lives, a disease, or whatever it might be. Nothing can come to us or affect our lives except by what we imagine and have put out in the world. And the reason for that is simple. When we think a thought, you can hook a person up to little electrodes and they can measure the brain waves on an oscilloscope and on certain electronic devices. And when you think a thought, it actually sends a frequency in micro voltages out away from your body and affects the air molecules in the atmosphere. For Earth, it goes out and it gets recorded in the air and it bounces off the ionosphere just like a radio wave. So people are surrounded on Earth growing up here without any training about who they are that isn't a body and never has been. What they're capable of doing as the Atma, the true form that they are, that's part of the source behind all life itself. They don't remember any of that. And they're afraid to remember that because then they have to be responsible for the way they treat life. We are meant to be custodians and caretakers of all life on this planet and the air and the ecology and the water. We're supposed to be respectful of each other, all life, animals, plants, fish, trees, it doesn't matter, rocks. Because if we don't learn that respect, we cannot be trusted to play among the stars amongst hundreds of millions of spacefaring races who do have that respect. And I'm not joking. They are far more advanced than we are on Earth. Many of them are human, but with more strands of DNA than R2. So if people on Earth want to be free of the hellish part, the way this world is, the wars and the people starting wars because they're paranoid about something that does not exist. So they start a war to try to protect themselves from something that was never a threat in the first place. This is the way people have been doing things on this earth for millions of years, not 10,000 years. Way beyond any religious book here or when it was created. Humans have been being brought to this world and many other races for many countless millions of years in a history that people do not remember, cannot recall, they're afraid to. So people are taught to believe in a supreme being here. They're given the option of believing in one religion or another. That's fine. But they're not offered the ways or the techniques or the experience to really know what it is they're worshiping by going to it while their body's still alive on earth. That's important because if a person waits till they die, when their body stops working, they take with them the fears and doubts they had when they left. If a person understands who they really are, which is spherical energy shape, what people call soul, not one of these, then they can move that around, which they do every night when they put the body to sleep anyway. They just don't remember it. And you can travel to the source of what they call the supreme being and communicate with it directly. This is how we're meant to really function as human beings. We're not supposed to be trapped in the illusion, the self-delusion that we are a physical body. That's just it's like a machine. It's a genetic entity that has been evolved over time with a higher DNA to be able to channel higher capabilities of the Atma, which isn't human, not a human body, through it to gain experience and then eventually return to the source from whence we came to become a co-creator with that source, the thing they worship. We're meant to be a co-creator with it, not a co-slave, not its minion, not its slave. To do that, we have to operate like it does in respecting, supporting all life. When we start doing the same thing, the whole universe opens up to us. The greater God makes its presence known to us. And it's done through the first sound behind creation. And it happens to be in human terms for planet Earth, structured in the first half of the word human. Hue. It makes a whole round sound. It's like a prayer, but much more powerful because the whole round sound affects the pineal gland, the center of the human brain, and opens a door. And it opens a door to directly connect to the source behind all life through this medium that's out in space people call divine spirit without really understanding it. It's a living, conscious, one power, one energy that everything floats in it like a planet on its axis, a moon going around a planet moon going around the sun going around bigger suns, turning on their axis around the center of a galaxy. They all float in this other medium. When humans look at a Hubble Space Telescope picture or a radio telescope conglomerate of picture, they see what galaxies and nebulae, and they're all colorful, but human eyes can't really see those colors. Those are higher frequencies. So human eyes see this space out between all things as black. It isn't, but their human eyes can only see a certain frequency and they can't see into what it really looks like. So it appears black to them. When you get out of the body as a being and look at it, it's a white golden field of light everywhere. And more advanced races among the stars understand this. They know what 0 point or toroidal energy is, the energy of the universe. They know how to work in harmony with it, so it reveals its secrets to them. How to move through this non-nuclear, non-atomic energy, which is what the CERN Super Collider people call the God particle. It's an energy behind all matter. It's not atoms. It's something else. And it's everywhere. When people learn how to work with that, then they're working in an energy that is not limited by the speed of light that human eyes can only detect that is moving so fast. But there is no limits to the speed of light, none whatsoever. That's completely artificial, arbitrary. They say, well, we can see it and detect it going this, so that's as fast as it goes. No. They know that different areas of the spectrum from visible light to ultraviolet, infrared, X-rays, gamma rays, and all that stuff are just higher frequencies of the very same thing. And most of it that we're talking about is not atomic or nuclear. It is energy, but not as people on Earth understand it yet. People in other worlds understand it very well. They can share the understanding of how to work with this omnipresent living power, what we call, in scientific terms, on a zero-point or toroidal energy, where anti-gravity comes into this picture, how it works, how you can move from planet Earth to clear across the galaxy in an hour or less. How do you go beyond the limits they think are the speed of light? First of all, you can't if you think there's a limit, because you won't create the devices, the ability to go faster, because you've got it limited at this level. They trap themselves with that thinking. It's ignorant. They don't know any better. But other races out among the stars and other dimensions do know better. So if we want to play among the stars and have this planet liberated, have all life here changed to some degree for the better, then people have to give up utilizing their imaginative power in negative ways. It's just that simple. Because in space-time, in nuclear and atomic energy, in molecules and matter, everything you put out has an equal and opposite reaction. It's like a mirror. It's made of two currents, positive and negative, that are really coming from one energy split into two particles that is really not positive or negative at all. It's like the yin and yang symbol, like the two teardrops are circling around in a closed circle. One's white, one's black, a little dot in it. You've seen this yin yang symbol. It's supposed to be done to where a third energy comes through these two in harmony to manifest things, so that there's no creation of repercussions in space-time. It ends karma, it ends reincarnation, it ends the illusion of being born with no memory and dying just as almost as stupid as we were when we were born. With a little experience. You can't learn anything in a university or anything on Earth that teaches anything about any of this, because it's not taught on Earth. Most gurus that teach people don't even know about it or how to teach it. But there are master teachers in the universe, most of whom people on Earth have never heard of, that know how to teach it, that do know how to do it. And they can do it for people on Earth. But right now, people on Earth are so paranoid about everything, they would attack anything they don't understand. This is how ironic it is. All these years, people have been talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials, good guys and bad guys from other worlds, and reptilians and grays and tall whites and Nordics and all this stuff, and Pleiadians and so forth and so on. Not even realizing that all of them that are on Earth came from there. They have no clue. They're saying, I wonder if there's life on other planets, because they don't remember they used to live on them. You can't learn enough to be a co-creator with the source behind all life in one lifetime. Quite impossible. But you can get into a situation in a lifetime where you cross paths with people that can help an individual recover themselves, their original destiny, how they came into creation, where it started, and go all the way back to the source and see it for yourself. People on Earth do not realize they have this ability, because their imagination, their daydreaming is on the negative, grounds them to this Earth. When a person can still their emotions, like in a meditation, so that they're calm and serene, then the true principle is to become very active. Once it's still, meaning no negative programs are influencing you, they're turned off, then we open our vision to see into the universe, not with these physical eyes, but with the ability of the spherical being we are, what people call soul, that has the ability to look into that omnipresent living energy that isn't atomic or nuclear and know things anywhere in creation. You want to know what it's like on Nextland? You open your inner vision and you see it. If you want to go there, you move out of your body and you go on this one living current that's out in that void of space and you go there. People can travel between multidimensional levels instantly. Physical ships take time. Even the most advanced craft would take some time to get across way faster than the speed of light and go across the galaxy or to another galaxy. There are races that can do this in the physical universe. Some of them are human, but they're not stationed on Earth. They don't have subconscious minds. Their societies prohibit such things, which means they have the technology to remove subconscious influences. If something is subconscious, as it is in people on Earth today, they don't remember who they are, what they are, where they came from, or where they're going, or what their purpose for existing really is all about. Most people have no clue. They might think they're supposed to go to some heaven, believe in one savior or another, have one religious book or another. That's fine. But if those systems do not provide direct experience about what they're worshiping, something's wrong. Because they're not designed to help people become free of amnesia. A spiritual amnesia, I guess you'd have to say. Meaning they don't remember. Why? What caused that? Why don't they remember? What subconsciously is making them terrorized to not know? Most people think a human being is a body and a brain, so they say, oh, well, we're too limited to know the supreme being. We can't know that. Well, they would be correct if that's what they were, was the gray matter in your skull. But they're not. That's a device, the brain. There's nothing in the human brain cells that has a motion picture camera that can project an imagination on a screen so you can watch it. People do it all the time, and they just assume it's in their brain. It's not at all. They might have their eyes open looking out at the parking lot out here, but then they're daydreaming about being on a ski trip or being in the mountains or being on another planet or being in another dimension or riding on a spaceship. What's the difference between getting on a tin can with explosive fuel and getting into orbit, going around the world, Earth, and getting on a ship that doesn't use fuel that way that can go across the stars? The difference is the limitation of the type of technology, that's all. The tin can with the rocket fuel cannot go fast enough to get anywhere in the universe. It's a waste of time. They'll never be fast enough. You can't get across space beyond the speed of light using such devices. There are races and beings out among the stars that do not use rocket fuel to get around. And people on Earth classify, they know this well enough. It's not new. Moving around the worlds and the universe is not a new thing. How to do it. It's just that people on Earth are so in the dark about everything outside of Earth. They're left in the dark in an enclosed atmosphere around a planet with no memory or very little. All of that kind of thing is reversible. My work and the reason I came to this planet, why I'm here for now, is to help usher in an energy that can help change that for everyone. If we don't do it, if we were alone in the universe and beings weren't coming here from the stars, keeping discreet, keeping off the radar, these people on this planet would have blown this place to hell. They don't have the discipline not to push a nuclear button. They never have. And they tried to do it many times and they were stopped. Not by an invasion from the stars, by shutting down their launch computers from space. Simple as that. So with all the fear and threat of alien craft coming here, And when they've been shot at or even maybe hit sometimes, I don't know. Isn't it amazing that such advanced races who have the technology never fired back once? You'd think that people on Earth would get the message. They're too stupid and dumbed down and fear-ridden to understand simple facts. Beings have been coming to this planet for hundreds of millions of years and other worlds. This is not new. And if what people think may be a threat from the stars, when they attack them out of fear and they're never fired back, never shot back, they don't really do that. You'd think that there's no real threat, right? That's not how people on Earth think, unfortunately. So this is the kind of stuff that needs to change for the people on this planet. And when that changes, and it is being set up to do that, then people won't be so terrified if lots of ships from other worlds come and land here and get out and introduce themselves. Start showing them how to be free and how to feel uplifted and how to be like they are, much higher energy. The technology to cure disease comes with the understanding of the individual switches that we call genomes on the DNA. More advanced races understand each single switch, a billion of them or more, in just the twin-stranded DNA of a human being. They know how to access them with precise sound frequencies and turn them off or on, change them. People on Earth know their switches determine your hair color, your height, when you die. Those are all switches. Whether you're vulnerable to cancer or whether you're not, switches. They're working with targeted gene therapy, which doesn't really work very well yet on this Earth, to try to get your own immune system to attack a cancer cell that puts out a chemical that says, don't attack me, I'm friendly. They're trying to get this solved. It doesn't have to be solved by people on Earth if it's already been solved by humans in other worlds. But in order for us to enjoy this, we have to be rational, kind, non-sadistic beings driven for co-creating new ways of doing things for the good of all life, like they are. And then we can be given this technology at no cost, no charge, no bullion, no gold, no silver, no money, no digits in a computer, because they don't work that way. A few tyrant races that have come here in secret, like they did with the Nazi scientists in Germany, did that breaking a treaty. And eventually they were caught and it was stopped, and everybody knows the rest. The scientists who used slave labor to kill many people were brought into this country, classified and into Russia, split them up, and put at the head of our space programs. And these people killed millions of people, worked them to death. That makes no sense. But they were more advanced in gaining off-world understanding of certain technologies that Russia and the United States were not aware of. And the Germans shouldn't have had it. They were given it illegally. That was all stopped. So when people think about reptilians and underground bases here, they're wasting their time and energy by dwelling on fear. Nazis in the South Pole and all that stuff. What good does that do anybody on this earth to dwell on such things? It's classified, whatever it is. You're never going to find it out until open disclosure is fully underway. And that is imparted by governments who decide to give up their classified system. And they're being motivated to do that right now. Disclosure has begun through the Pentagon in the US, for one. So you have to have a means brought to this world, not from Earth, and the expertise to help people make this transition without destroying themselves. We cannot do it alone on this planet. If you look at the way people are, in mass, they have no collective awareness to change the direction of destruction they're heading this world on their own. They just don't have it. Look at leaders in every country, religious leaders in every country. They collectively do not have it. It's a good thing we're not alone in the universe, or we'd all be gone. Not dead, But all these bodies we have would be gone. The world would survive just fine. It's like shaking off a flea off a dog's back. And then it would just reset itself and people would come and colonize this place again because no human being ever evolved here. Okay, that's enough said on that. But if I don't say it because no one else is this way, then people won't think or understand that it's possible. They won't ask the right questions. They won't pray in the right way to get the answers. The omnipresent living energy that supports all life is reciprocal. It only works on what we imagine in it, good and bad or both. We're supposed to learn how to imagine in it in a healthy, productive way. Makes sense. Makes sense. When we go on these journeys, I want to ask you first, Perry, if you have any questions about anything I've said here.
No, because I know what everything you said was true. Only by direct experience we understand. And what you told us, Scott, is so true again that we never learn that on Earth. Nobody teaches us here on Earth. We most of the time we pay attention to like fashion, like food, like things in life that is, you know,
Superficial, materialistic things. Yeah, and you can't blame people. I mean, they're caught up in fearing the government, paying the taxes, fear of some religious doctrine that says you go to hell if you don't do this. That was set up by tyrant kings on earth who controlled the ancient priestcraft on this planet. And that was imported to this world from tyrant races out among the stars. And yes, it was policed. And yes, there's a treaty. It came about at the end of 500,000 years ago, at the end of a galactic war. There is no galactic war going on outside this planet, like some people are telling people on Earth, meaning well, but just creating more fear. And fear traps people to the planet. It keeps them inside this atmosphere. Because all the negative stuff that's ever been done to people, animals to animals, people to animals, everything that's ever been done here is still recorded in the atmosphere we breathe. It's contained within the atmosphere, the electromagnetic field that surrounds this planet. It is not allowed to go out into space. You cannot take what's in the atmosphere of this planet out in space and record it in energy that is non-nuclear because it cannot be recorded there. So I think that's probably why astronauts, when they get out of a spaceship and they're circling circling the planet and they're in a suit and they're looking at the stars and they feel like they have a God experience of some kind because they're in an energy that has none of that negative nature in it. Of course they're uplifted.
Scott, and I have learned a lot from your work, and I recall who I am more and more each time, each day. And because I like to support your work to for people in the world to get to know more. But English is not everybody can speak English or understand
Right.
English.
No.
So we should go further step. Would you please introduce or tell people that you're opening for the donation for people to get your books to translate in
Yeah.
other
I mean,
languages
it's
too?
it's uh it's honorable, it's honest, there's nothing hidden, no hidden motive. It took a long time, as you know, Perry, for me to ever even agree to offer a donation button at my website so people could contribute to their own survival. They could contribute something constructively to the transformation of this planet and do something to step away from being caught in always fearing the present and the future. That's just negative. It keeps people trapped here with no awareness, no memory, because it's negative in nature. So, as you know, the Savior's Agenda book that I published and the Parallel Time Trilogy books that I published are in trade paperback, and ebook, but they're all in English. So we started a donation button, which is at paralleltime.com. And I will share this very briefly because people, believe it or not, could be shown this 100 times and they still may not have the motivation because of subconscious fear to go check it out. So this is what the website looks like. It's a woman standing on a rock on an alien planet. Looks like Earth, but it isn't. There's a donation button. When you click it on, it looks like this. We have a goal, and we have this much raised now, mostly from Thai people, because they want to contribute, which is very expensive, to getting the book published, translated, and published in Thai. It is expensive, difficult, has to be done by top professionals who really know how to keep a book formatted when they translate it to another language, because as a publisher, I still have to publish that text in the same look and feel their English one done, but in Thai. And it has to be done on the cover, and the spine has to all be changed. And the book has to be published as a new book. Even though it's the same book, the series yet, it has to be published with a new ISBN number and published as a new book because it's in another language. So that's how this process works. When you go up here, you see a select language. You can put this website into any language on earth. We'll go to Thai. Let's take a little bit of a look at what it's like to see this in Thai. And there you have it. The videos will be in English because they were created that way. But the text that's in this website becomes Thai. Even the donation button, look at this. It's in Thai up here, but it's in English here because the company that receives donations is in English and is in the United States. But that's okay. So when you go to some other page at the website, everything's in Thai. So that people in Thailand can read it. The books, the Sayre's Agenda, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, Amazon Kindle, Nook, The Emerald Doorway, Guardians of the Ancient One, Journey to the Center of the Universe. They're all published worldwide, but they're only in English. So we want to get these things published in Japanese and Spanish. The reason for that is there's over 1 billion people that speak Spanish, mostly in South America, and Japanese, if they can read it in Japanese, would be great fans of this work, and it would benefit them greatly. These books are a bestseller in a Bangkok, right, Perry? In a Bangkok, Thailand bookstore that's owned by the Japanese, a big one like Barnes
Yes,
in the States.
correct.
And it's great that it's a bestseller there, but to get it in Japan and open that market for the benefit of Japanese people, it needs to be in Japanese. It's very expensive. It takes top people to translate properly what is said in English in these languages. So we're being very careful about who is going to be hired from these donations. I don't make money personally for my use from these donations. They're being saved in an account so we can pay to get the work done. I'm doing it for the benefit of Thai people. They want to contribute to this. They maybe want to contribute more so we can get it in Japanese and Spanish. They maybe want to contribute more so I can start the feature film, short and full-length feature film development, because the screenplays for all these books are written. It's a practical nature to it. So let me get out of Thai right now. It's probably all the way. Where's English? There it is. Okay, so there's conference videos in here. Presentation in Finland. Some people's radio shows. Michael Sala's work, Coast to Coast and with George and John B. Wells. I've been on these shows, and they're great, and their hosts are great, but they don't reach enough people. It's mostly late night stuff. So about Scott, if you go here, there's a recording right here of the hue, the first half of the word human, how it sounds in order to connect to this. The energy that's between all these stars is what people call divine spirit. People can find this at the website. They can contact me right here. They can leave their name, email, and write me a message, and I'll get it, and I'll write back to them if they're sincere. So they can get a message to me through this website. When you go home at the website, there's the front page. There's a great big video player that plays a video about this work. You can see the books, even a music album, which is basically film-related music and lyrics. And as you can see, this is being updated because these two books are published. But when this video was made, they were not. So if I stop that video, these are free videos, radio shows people can listen to right on the first page. And the books are here. If they want to get any of these books, they can click this on. It's going to go right to where you can go right to the direct links to get them. All right, so I'll stop sharing that, but the donate button is here. The reason it's there was just a month ago that I started that is because I asked Thai people in a hotel meeting that Perry set up, that I do guided presentations at. I asked them if they wanted to donate to get a book done in Thai and other things, and they all raised their hands. So this is why I did it. So if someone is unfamiliar with how to donate to this, really, they just have to ask somebody for some help they know, say in Thailand. Because people that didn't know how to do it at first, I communicated with them, Perry did, and they figured it out. They figured out how to do it. So it's just a learning curve. The funds that are being donated are being collected for the purpose, first and foremost, of getting a book done in Thai, published worldwide, so they can be most benefited. Because the Series Agenda book, which is this one, this is the planet Saturn in our solar system. This is the rings, which are about 1.5 miles thick, made of ice, frozen ice, sometimes the size of buildings. And this is a 1-mile-long cylindrical ship with an anti-gravitic light around it, bridge control here, bridge in the back, disc-shaped scout-class vehicles with 3 semi-spheric pods on the bottom, going into the center of the ship. They don't go into open launch bays. They raise their molecular time rate through the electromagnetic field that's around the craft, pass through the molecules of the ship, and land in a hangar bay. This is on the front cover of this book. In the back of this book, which is unlike any book I know of, is a special technique section. And in it, there's a special technique involving the hue and connecting directly into that omnipresent energy that's between all things that floated in space. And it goes up through these different dimensions right to the source. And there is a technique for the prologue and one for each of the 29 chapters. So for Thai people, it'll be important for them to be able to read that in Thai. This is Mark Sandfield on the back. This is a human who's in the high Sierra Mountains in California on a solo camping trip. These guys dressed in special black suits are trying to kill him. A ship like the Galactic Alliance you see on the front picks this man up and saves his life. And it starts him on a journey about waking up what he was made to forget on Earth. It's the same for every human being. So it can be very helpful for people to explore that book because it's designed to be of a direct experiential benefit to the reader. It's not mindless entertainment. Okay.
I just want to share. It's not me alone who have so much experience from your work, Scott, because I work with many Thai people every day, every single day. People will send me, their experiences about remembering who they are and experience outside the planet Earth. So this is why donation button is for everybody to benefit of this work. You can read in your own language, and then you can know more about yourself, have direct experience. And Scott's work is part of very important part of this disclosure is coming. It's happening now. So be there with us, everybody.
Well, I co-create with or work with some wondrous beings, not from Earth. Master teachers people don't know about on Earth, from other worlds, other dimensions. And I've been doing this all my life, one way or another. What I write about comes from my experience about what I write about. If you read the Sayre's Agenda and the Parallel Time trilogy of books, you will see things that no human being could have made up in their brain, learning what they can learn in one lifetime from any university on Earth. It's quite impossible. The content of the material, what's revealed, can only come from seeing and knowing it outside of this planet. Now, the more I say that, when people start to experience this kind of thing for themselves, then it becomes true for them based on their own experience, not by what I tell them, but by what they begin to experience. They begin to remember. It takes a little while. The process is speeding up for what time it takes for people to recover what they were made to forget. That means something happened to everybody on this earth at some point before they were born here that made them forget everything else. And that needs to be reversed. Otherwise, people are bound to earth, thinking their bodies when they're not, knowing their life is short, wondering if there's life after death, and then they pass away with those fears. Those fears affect the imagination, which generally makes people imagine coming back here to feel safe, so they get born again with no memory. That is a habit. It's not a good habit. It's a bad habit. It's like being addicted to something, addicted to lifetimes with no memory. It's a conditioned program, a subconscious program. And the way that people get liberated from something like that is to become aware of what they're afraid to remember. With kind people, masterful teachers, and people that can help them do this in a safe way, so that this fear they have from the past that keeps them from remembering can be set aside as a memory and no longer a subconscious influence. We're not meant to have subconscious minds. That's what's taught on Earth, but only because they don't understand it. The best taught psychologists, psychiatrists, for the most part, believe that what they imagine, what they're going through, is in this brain here. Barring a chemical imbalance, this is not true at all. Imagination doesn't come from what's in your skull. If people understood how daydreaming really works, when it's effortless for them, everybody does it. Oh, they're sitting in a classroom and they're bored and looking at the parking lot and they're dreaming about, being at the ski resort or on the beach, or if they're more advanced, seeing another planet. And they're really seeing it. Maybe the teacher's boring. Maybe they don't like the subject. But that daydreaming is how we look and perceive and know things in the universe. When we learn that we aren't making it up in our brain, we begin to explore and discover who and what that we are that's doing it. It's not the brain or body. That's a big change in the consciousness of a person when they start to understand this. My work, and the reason I came to this world, was to assist massive numbers of people that aren't from here to help change this place so that the people will not run amok out of fear and destroy all life here. That's the reason ships are coming here. That's the reason they come here in stealth mode. They have the technology to be invisible to radar. They have the ability to simply blink in and disappear, show up 2,000 miles away, because they are changing the molecular time rate when they power up a craft into a higher parallel dimension. And then they move over and come down over here. So it looks to a person watching them as if they just blink out, disappear, and then blink back in, 1,000 feet over here, a mile over there. Lots of people have witnessed this. When they are invisible, they cannot be detected on radar. They can't be shot down. They're not even in this dimension, really. And they do this to observe. They do it if they have to shut down nuclear missiles and launch computers that when they try to have a nuclear war. They've done this, I know of 12 times at least. They've done it since World War II. They aren't interfering in governments here. They don't want to run governments here. They want us to grow up and be caretakers and custodians of this planet, to remember who we are, to recover higher faculties of being that people had before they were made, forced really, to forget them. So this work is about direct experience, not mine, yours. There are beings that can be introduced to people on this planet. People can start working with them when they're out of their bodies at night. What do I mean by that? It means every night a human on Earth puts their body to sleep, right? And they snore and they don't know anything. Well, that means they're out of their body, but they've not been taught since birth, developed any muscles or spiritual muscles or higher faculty uses they don't even know they have to bring back the awareness of where they're going every night to this earth when they wake up in the morning. So when a person starts to be able to understand this, they could be in the middle of the day, sit in a chair, go into a contemplation or meditation, and go into the hue and start to see and know things, especially when they understand how to use their imagination properly. There isn't a person on this earth that's ever written a sci-fi novel or a movie that made it up in their brain. They might believe they did, but if they're honest with themselves, they know they didn't have the intelligence to write that stuff. It wasn't taught to them on earth in that brain. It's not possible. They go into a trance kind of state, like a meditation, without realizing it, authors, and they write and they see this stuff in their imagination. They write it down. They're actually looking into another history or another galaxy, and they're writing about what they've experienced or seen, unconsciously, of course. So when people begin to realize that what they imagine exists somewhere, everything for that person begins to change. Right? It's not easy. So when we go into one of these journeys, I'm simply working with something that cannot be possessed or owned by any group or organization, government, religion, or people on any world, in any dimension, anywhere in the multidimensional creation. It is a multidimensional creation. The physical universe and all the galaxies is just one level of many. Finer molecular time rates of matter and finer molecular time rates of matter. They're divided by time rates, molecular time rates. You get up to a certain point and there's a barrier. And then there's a much more accelerated molecular time rate, like from the physical universe and parallel dimensions within it. Then you get to what's called the emotional level, astral level. Then there's a causal level and a mental level and an etheric level. And there's a big void that some esoteric groups on Earth know about. It's just a barrier. It's not the realm of the Supreme Being. And there are many higher levels above that. Each one of us that runs one of these bodies came from that source originally. And that is what we are challenged to remember. Because we are meant to be co-creators with that source. Not unconscious in bodies on a planet, like Earth is an example of this. But it's not typical of most worlds. When people on Earth discover this, what a change it's going to be, because beings in life and humans and things on other worlds are far more at peace with themselves. They know they're not their bodies. They enjoy them, but they can also get out of them. They're going to anyway when the body stops working. So might as well know it while we're alive. Makes sense. So I work with the first half of the word human. You've heard of Om from the East. The gurus brought it over here decades after World War II, most popular. It was coming over here since the turn of the century, really. And that comes from the mental plane. It's still below the void, the sound, Om. It's a very high level compared to Earth here, but is not the home of freedom. You have to go further than that. The hue vibrates the cranium upward in a human being. It opens a doorway in the pineal gland, the center of the brain, that is not a physical apparatus. And then what we really are, that's spherically shaped in the image of the source itself, prime creator. It has a structure to it. It has different layers, color of the spectrum of the rainbow. It's surrounded by a golden energy field, and it moves around in this one energy because it's comprised of the same energy. And there's no limits in time and space in moving in that energy, so we can move anywhere we wish. The purpose for all of this ultimately is to be a conscious, well-experienced co-creator with the source behind all life, to come up with new ways to do things, to help create this universe better than it has been. That's why we are a drop from an ocean of this same thing, individualized. And that drop is supposed to be fully conscious of what it is. And it's not a body or a brain. It cannot be killed. This, yes. Planets can blow up. The Atma, or soul, as people call on Earth, isn't made of nuclear atomic energy. It can't be destroyed by any physical matter, beam weapon, ships, bombs, nothing. Cannot touch it. It is the energy behind those things, behind it, supporting it. So when I go into the hue, I send out these tonal frequencies. And what I'm doing, because it's telepathic, it means that pure telepathy has no negative nature in it. Not like communication on Earth can be fraught with fear and people talking and afraid of each other and they fear the present, fear the future, and then they do destructive things because they're afraid. They attack. When all that's stilled, there's only one energy that's left. And that's the omnipresent living power, the one power that's supporting the whole creation. And we have the ability to tap right into it, to communicate with it directly. This is how we're meant to be. So I'll send out these tones, and it'll open a doorway through these other dimensions, these planes. And in this way, I'm able to assist fellow beings to put their body into the trance state we call sleep. They do every night anyway. And then by listening to my voice, consciously go on a journey beyond the negative atmosphere of planet Earth, out into the cosmos to experience other worlds and other beings. If we want to embrace a bigger God, then we have to respect and embrace all the life that's in the bigger universe beyond Earth. It is required. No one escapes it. If we want to know that, we have the ability to know it, but not if nobody ever tells you you have the ability, if you don't think about the right questions or ask the right questions of this energy. It will not respond to you. You can pray to it all day long. But when you imagine it properly, you're in communication with it. And then things can change. Imagine someone you respect, you would love and respect. You're grateful they're in your life. It can be a person, place, or thing, but it needs to be genuine. Meaning, it kind of puts a smile on your face. You just like looking at a child's smile, or a butterfly, or a beautiful bird, or an ocean, or a sunset, or stars, or planets. And it just kind of makes you feel expanded and peaceful, even serene inside. Now imagine, this is just daydreaming now. Imagine you're hovering near the ceiling where you live, looking down on your body, and its eyes are open, looking up at you. And you are that something that isn't the physical body that's looking at yourself, and your eyes are looking back up at you. The eyes can't see you in the energy form you really are, but you can communicate to that body that it can see you, and then the eyes appear to see the sphere hovering there that you really are. You can look out through the wall of your building where you are and see the terrain around you in the countryside. Remember, you're not using your physical eyes to do this, because if you're doing this right, your eyes are closed. You're doing a kind of meditation or contemplation. The eyes are closed and shuts off that part of the brain. It's not on. There's no light coming in the eyes. And yet you can imagine. You can imagine hovering near the ceiling, looking down on your body. You can imagine being at 10,000 feet in the atmosphere above where you live. And you can see yourself hovering near the ceiling as a spherical energy, luminous and bright, looking at your body sitting there or laying down. And you can imagine being in outer space outside of Earth's atmosphere in that black void. Except when you're out this way, it doesn't appear to be a black void. It's a white golden light everywhere between the Earth and the moon and the sun and the stars and other galaxies and other dimensions. It's everywhere. These things create electromagnetic whirls or fields of energy by turning on an axis so they can float in this other energy that supports them. That other energy that's everywhere, this all powerful, omnipresent, living, conscious energy. We are made of the same thing as the spherical being. And we have the right to communicate directly into it. You don't need a spaceship for this, but you can get on a spaceship and go from here to, say, planet Nurexlum, beyond the Seven Sisters, beyond the Pleiades, and go down and see what that planet's like. You can do it in a ship. Takes about a day to get 500 light years away. A day. Not 24 hours, about 7. And there are more advanced craft that go faster than that. Yeah, you could take your physical body there. If you wouldn't freak out about it, and you could stand your own ground and hold your head high amongst fellow beings from other worlds, you could do that. Or you could just simply go there by putting your body in the trance state called sleep, going on this journey using the creative imagination, which isn't made up in the brain. It's what you really see as a being hovering above your body out there. The energy we move in, this omnipresent living energy, is not negative or positive. There's nothing harmful or evil in it. There's nothing of any negative nature that can even approach us as the Atma, as the true self, when we're moving in that energy, because it is master over all things that were created in the lower worlds of time and space. We exist and have existed before the lower worlds of time and space were even made. Why? Because we are made of the same energy as the source, identical. I'll begin these tones, and then we'll go on a journey. You. You. Pure telepathy is not psychic in nature. It is a form of communication we all share with each other, but not the brain and body. No, it doesn't originate there. It comes from the white core of your being as a spherical energy being, as the Atma soul. It's made of 0 point toroidal energy, the energy of the universe, divine spirit, whatever you want to call it. Does not change what it is, or how it works, or what it does, or what we're capable of co-creating with it. Be in space above the earth. You're a spherical luminous energy being. It has a white core. It has a layer of teardrop-shaped self-effulgent lights around it that becomes more yellow. Then it becomes a little bit more orange, then a little bit red, then a little bit green, then a little bit blue, then a little bit lavender, a little bit violet, golden halo. It covers the spectrum of light. And we look like this. It's on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway. When we understand this and recover who we really are to this degree, we can move it around the multiverse. We can go on journeys, visit other worlds, other dimensions. We can even go all the way back to Source, Prime Creator, Supreme Being, and have a direct experience. Bring it back to Earth and record it in the electromagnetic field that surrounds the body, what people call the aura. It's not in the brain, it's stored outside. It is through what's stored there that we look into the multiverse and see things. If there are fear-driven implant programs in the way, that's what you're going to see. Those need to be neutralized. Those need to be turned off. This is done to begin with by deliberately placing our imagination away from fear of the present and the future and putting on wonderful things that are uplifting and constructive. This is extremely important. In space, Perry and I, and those who may be on this journey or who find this recording on our YouTube channel later and go on the journey, are going to experience that they are hovering in a circle of beings around a very dear friend named Ambassador Turellian. He is human, but he is not from Earth. And he doesn't have a human body like humans have on Earth. He shows us an 18-foot tall human body like a Greek god, slightly curvy blonde hair to his shoulders, big blue crystalline blue eyes, slightly pointed ears like an elf, just slightly, in a simple silk-like gown with bare feet, and he's standing there, and we're in a circle around him. He is of the most ancient Seres race, thus the title, the Seres Agenda. S-E-R-E-S. But it's pronounced as if it was spelled S-A-Y-R-A-Y-S, Seres. They were responsible for genetically uplifting humans as known on Earth and many other more advanced races long ago in galactic history. They are not from the Milky Way. They aren't from Andromeda. They're from further out in creation. And so he's showing you a body that he once had over 1 billion Earth years ago. Their whole race evolved to the point where they dissolved the genetic makeup of their body and stored it in one of these teardrop shapes that surround the white sphere of their being. And so when they want to manifest a form like he's doing now to show it to you, he draws the omnipresent energy that's a white golden light around us that we all see, between us, above us, below us, between the earth, the moon, the sun, the stars, and other galaxies. And he'll empower this DNA to manifest a form we can see. So they don't have the burden of running around a human body, eating and going to the bathroom or any of that. They immortalized their bodies in this unique way over 1 billion years ago. When they had finished helping Source uplift genetic forms to the point where the Atma, the real us, could run higher faculties of awareness of creativity through these body forms, they vanished. They disappeared from creation for a very long time. And recently they've returned to see what races have done with the gifts they provided. It's a good thing they've returned because it looks like so many beings are endeavoring to destroy themselves. Everything in the universe is connected. When you're looking at each spherical being in a circle around Turelian out in space above Earth's negative atmosphere, outside of it, you are literally hovering in the omnipresent divine spirit, first sound, first word behind all creation. Literally. And you seem to have a body that looks to be about 36 years old, perfectly flawless, male or female, handsome, beautiful. And it's standing in front of the sphere you are, showing your perfect self, this flawless human looking form made of energy, to everyone else. This is a natural capability that we all have. It is a telepathic function. It means all beings, not bodies, are connected, and to the one energy behind all creation we always have been and we always will be. There's a sound out here outside of Earth's atmosphere that sounds like roaring thunder, but it's gentle under your feet. It's a kind of a rumbling, almost electrical hum. And so this first sound comes from many dimensions above here, originates from beyond the void known to Buddhist and a few other esoteric groups on Earth. It comes from way above that. And so do we. So out in space, you do not have subconscious negative drives because there are beings, a man and a woman beside each one of us, that have volunteered to come here from the Galactic Alliance. That is a planetary group headquartered on a world near the galactic core of the Milky Way galaxy. And it is called the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. It is not a federation. People got that from Gene Roddenberry in Star Trek. It is not a federation. Can't blame them. They didn't know what else to draw from. So they call it a federation. But it isn't. And these beings, these men and women, will come here in craft, stationed in our solar system, policing it really, because our solar system is quarantined, not by people on Earth. It's quarantined for our own protection because people on Earth, as they are, would go out among the stars and destroy everything if they could, fighting over the spoils of outer space. This will never happen because Earth humans do not have the right, nor will they be given the right to go out in space and try to abuse other people's territories that are already occupied. The most highly classified people on Earth already know this truth. Part of disclosure will be revealed to people on Earth this reality. Part of disclosure, full disclosure, is revealing to people of Earth that many races exist out among the stars, and that the most benevolent group, the largest group, are willing to come here and help transform this planet. This means the people living on its surface must go through uplifting, dynamic, awakening change. In space, you can see the polar ice caps of planet Earth, just like if you were outside the space shuttle, or You were beside the Hubble telescope looking at Earth. You can see the oceans and land masses. Far enough from the planet, you don't see roads or individual buildings or cities. You can see the barren moon, meteor crater pockmarked everywhere, no atmosphere to speak of, turning around, traveling in an orbit around the planet, but it does not turn on its axis at all. You can see the yellow sun in the distance. You can see billions of stars all around us, below, above, to the right, to the left. Big blue, young, hot white, blue giant stars. Yellow suns like our sun, but much bigger. Big giant red type planets, suns, and red dwarfs, smaller, older suns. And it is known today that those planetary systems that circle those suns, for the most part, circle binary and trinary sun systems. This means that life evolves on these other worlds in a trinary or binary sun system. It means there's a big, large sun, a smaller sun like our sun circling it, and another sun further out. And the planets circle a trinary system. This is why those planets normally do not have polar ice caps and why they're more evolved. Everyone that's living on Earth today, every human race represented on Earth, did not originate on planet Earth in the first place. There's no such thing as a planetary one atmosphere around the world evolving African American, Japanese, Asian, Semitic, Aboriginal tribes, Indian tribes. All of these races could not have evolved in one atmosphere with one sun like they are. They were brought here in a history you've never been taught, more ancient than you can imagine. And then there's Galactic History 101. There's multidimensional history, interdimensional history. Properly awakened, a human being on Earth is capable of understanding such things. In space, because your body is asleep back on the planet, like you put it in that sleep state every night. This man and this woman from the Galactic Alliance that have left their bodies, a couple from a number of ships, disc-shaped, are standing beside each of you. They aren't interfering in your thoughts or prying into your memory. They're simply keeping fears that you carry back on Earth turned off for now. You can get grounded in the omnipresent living one energy behind all creation because you're made of it anyway. And then you're getting grounded in what you would call the supreme being or source energy, prime creator, through the hue or the sound behind all that exists. Then, other than your own self-imposed limitations, there are no limitations. We should go on a journey to the planet Saturn in our solar system. This is done very easily. Ambassador Trellian is pointing out in space away from the moon. And we're in a circle around him. There's a man and a woman, about 36. Flawless physical forms are showing in a spherical being hovering above them, just like you are. And we're all going to move through space in a blur of light. And suddenly we stop and we realize we're looking down on the planet Saturn, a big gas giant between Mars and Jupiter. Well, that's where the asteroid belt is. But you've got this big gas giant with these rings around it made of ice or water. About a mile and a half thick. There's a long cylindrical ship, and inside the ice rings, with an electromagnetic, what we call an antigravitic field, blue field of energy surrounding it. And it's hovering stationary, keeping the ice chunks away just under the surface layer of one of these rings. In the background, you can see the big gas giant Saturn. And there are 6 ships about 30 feet across with semi-spheric pods on the bottom. This is part of how they're built. Glass-like blue tops, sleek disc shape. And they're moving in a curve in an open space and heading towards the central section of this long, mile-long cylindrical craft. It has a curved bridge control in the front. You can't see it, but there's an identical one in the back because this craft is made for moving through interdimensional doorways to cover great distances beyond space-time. It can be piloted from either end. We're getting a close-up of one of these discs approaching the middle of the hall, and along the upper edge of the hall, you see these observation portal windows, about 6 foot long, 3 feet wide, convexly curved outward, and you can see human beings and different races from the stars looking out the windows, and they can see us. That means the spherical us around Turellian, hovering by this ship, one of their ships. 5 more are behind us. And this ship is starting to raise its vibration. They're powering up the craft. The molecular time rate changes to that of a next parallel dimension. Then it's able to move through the metal hull. It's like you see a halo of light open and it moves right into the ship. And on the inside, it lowers its time rate and then lands on the floor next to many other craft in a long football field-sized landing hangar bay in the middle of the ship. They don't have open launch bays. This is called an Emerald Star Cruiser. It's on the front cover of the Sayre's Agenda book. I didn't make it up. I had to experience it, or I could not have written about it. What you're seeing is a ship, one of a number that are stationed in our solar system permanently for now. And they basically sent away a few beings that were of tyrant nature that run underground bases on Earth, and they've sent them away from the solar system. This was not done by people on Earth. The negative effects, the subconscious drives, remain in the people of Earth, not the negative beings that help perpetuate and create such drives, mostly for all of those people on Earth when they weren't before they were born here. They were brought here or forced to come here with amnesia, meaning they don't remember what they are that has never been this one lifetime or this one body. In this process of being out in space near the planet Saturn, within its ice rings, looking at this Emerald Star Cruiser, we're going to go inside the front third section of this craft. We're going to move right through the hall just like the ship did. And then suddenly you look down and you realize your bare feet of this physical 36-year-old perfect phallus body that looks like you is wiggling its toes in plush blue carpet. And you look around, you've got a 60-foot high ceiling, and hundreds of feet long is a lounge or observation area. It's about a third of the way from the bridge control room, the upper edge area of the ship. There are little blue glass-like round oval tables and egg-shaped white chairs with blue cushions, several people sitting in them on the opposite side of the table, and 300 of the ship's personnel standing to greet us because they can see us. When you look at their different human and humanoid forms, different hair, different eyes, longer earlobes, snake-like skin but no scales, snake-like eyes, or human, very high vibration, men and women, they all appear to be about 36. And they're here to greet us or welcome us aboard the Emerald Star Cruiser, right in our solar system. And the sphere that they are, the atom they are, is hovering above the body form they're showing you. And you're telepathically in communication, looking at them looking at you. Terrellian's standing behind us. He's 18 feet tall. He's just standing there in this beautiful Greek-like god body, the big, beautiful, bright sphere that he is hovering above this form he's showing us. A man and a woman get up from one of these oval tables and greet us with a hand across their heart. They look to be about 30, maybe 40, but ageless. They are the co-commanders of this ship, man and woman. And they welcome you to the Emerald Star Cruiser, one of the smaller, mile-long intergalactic ships of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. It is comprised, they're telling you, of more than 450 million spacefaring worlds located in parallel dimensions of the physical universe, 144 of them, not even astral. And they move their craft and their technology between them. So the crew, 300 of them, represent races from all those worlds. Everyone who experiences this journey with their feet in that plush, energy-charged carpet and can look out through these 6-foot-long, convexly curved outward observation windows, spaced 6 feet apart, all the way down as far as you can see, just above the middle section of the ship. And you can see the gas giant through them. It's many moons. And you can see 3 or 4 or 5 of these scout ships approaching behind us to enter this launch bay we explored earlier. Anyone standing in that blue carpet will have a deja vu. They know that this is not new to them, that they used to know this. They used to know this stuff. This is the way we have direct experience about who and what we are beyond Earth. First, we get outside the negatively compacted atmosphere of the planet. We get out into the one omnipresent energy and we travel. Now, this is just in the physical solar system in one parallel dimension. We can also go up through the dimensions all the way back to the source itself. And we have done this on other journeys and other radio shows. The more often that a person does this, the more they remember what they were made to forget while living on Earth. Both male and female personnel will come up to you and speak to you consciousness to consciousness, not with vocal cords. They have a symbol on their right chest area. It looks like a silvery galaxy with a golden pyramid, quartz capped and gold crowned, hovering above the nucleus of the galaxy, and 3 blue stars in triangular formation above it. That is a Galactic Alliance symbol. When you go on this journey, you're going to recognize the man and woman from another planet that approach you. And you're going to feel familiar, like you used to be one of them. This is a way the Galactic Alliance is beginning to contact people that used to be their relatives that have long since been lost and hidden on Earth or forced to be here with their memories shut down. If people want to embrace and be conscious about a bigger God they worship, they should embrace all life out in the multidimensional creation so they can embrace a bigger God and have a greater awareness of their purpose for existing. This is approached through the hue, and a certain protection goes with the training that goes along with being crossing paths with the hue itself. When you look around you now, you are looking at the polar ice caps of Earth, the barren moon, the yellow sun. And we're still in a circle around Turellian. There are several other master teachers here. One is Ramu, maroon robe, short cropped black beard and black hair, dark, almost black, coal black eyes. He's holding a crystal staff about 6 feet tall, made of quartz. It has a cross on top with a vertical oval hole with a hole in it, what people call the Ankh from ancient Egypt. It is a device. It is his trademark as a teacher. He carries it. To the right of Turellian, in the circle of us around him, is a master teacher called Opelum. He is human. He has pale blue skin like moonstone, jet black hair to his shoulders and emerald green eyes. He looks to be about 40, a little bit of gray in his temples. But he is a very special kind of human. He's a master teacher. He comes from a planet called Oceania on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, located in the third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. It is accessed through the right use of technology. He's holding up his hand. You can see little webs between his fingers. Lifts his neck. You can see 3 little gill slits here. Otherwise, you wouldn't know they were there. The humans on Oceania mostly live in dome cities at the bottom of the Oceanian Ocean, which covers most of the world. Near the equator, there are several islands with dome cities and clearings, with transport clear vacuum sealed tubes that go down into the ocean and connect to different cities. This species, this human species, we have genomes in our DNA from them, can breathe on land or underwater. There's several other little master teachers that are silica-based, meaning not carbon, but silica-based atomic structures, nucleus. They have DNA that is silica-based, and they're about 3 feet long from the root of their tail to the tip of their cute nose, their snout. Big bulbous blue eyes, dexterous hands and fingers and toes like a human, but they look like, not like a lizard, not really like a salamander. You can look and find one in the Emerald Doorway book in the Parallel Time Trilogy series, because very clear, accurate illustrations of characters in a few scenes, over 30, are in that book, and you can see Etta. He's adorable, courageous to a fault, but he is not human. Him and his wife, Din, who is hovering next to him, above Turellian's head in the center of this circle near Earth, are teachers, but not from Earth. You can befriend them. They can show you a great deal about higher faculties and how they work that you were made to forget all about. These are a few beings that are being introduced to you, kept close to home in our own solar system, right in our own dimension, to give you more of a grounded handle of what it's like to use the sleep state, to put that body to sleep and move out into the universe like you do every night anyway, but don't remember, for the most part, most of you. When you look at the Earth, you see a heat wave go over it like a heat wave in a desert. And suddenly you're looking at Earth in the same place, but it has no polar ice caps. And the moon is turning on its axis, circling the planet, covered with an oxygen atmosphere, rain clouds, dome cities, little lakes and little rivers. And there's one big continent centered from the east to the right hemisphere of the planet. Huge. It goes up near the North Pole, about a third of the way below it to the right hemisphere, then down towards the South Pole, about a third of the way above it, up to the Western Hemisphere. You can see right through Earth, and there's a continent 2/3 its side, centered over the equator on the other side. And you look at the sun, and it looks the same. The white golden energy that's in space between the Earth, the moon, and the sun, and all of us is the same. Now, that continent is Lemuria, or what people call Mu. Not the one that sank 100,000 years ago with the poles when they flipped on the Earth you're familiar with. This is in a third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. And that moon is alive. And there are certain master teachers that work on that non-polluted atmosphere of that world as a prototype, so that the moon that is stagnant now and does not turn on its axis at some point will replace the moon we have. It'll be superimposed over it so that things function correctly on Earth. You can visit this continent. There is an emerald green glowing beach, half moon shaped, near the middle of the equator, straight down towards the South Pole, on the bottom point, about a third of the way up in the South Pole, glowing green. You can see it from space. It's like you have a telephoto lens as an atma around Torellian. You can see inland past the jungle is a single snow-covered mountain and a huge dome covering a city, not a metropolis. 3 golden pyramids in the back, a glowing oval emerald green lake, and little walkways between ivory-colored domes, and a semicircular mountain range in the back that has little rivers, little waterfalls and streams cascading down its side, emptying into that lake. That is, it's a miniature mountain range put there for the aesthetic benefit of the people who work there. And you look down and you realize your feet, your bare feet, are wiggling in emerald green glowing sand. And you look up and you realize you're in this 1.5-mile curved beach. Torellian is standing up to his knees offshore with his 2 thumbs up, smiling at you. And you look down and you pick up some of this glowing sand. And you realize that these are little round, polished, crystal clear emeralds radiating light. And those go down through your hand, up through your head, and are sent up into this white core of your being, hovering above your body, the real you. And they're sent off into the different layers of your being to start turning things on. This green energy is for you to help remember all you once knew before that memory was suppressed. And it's designed in the hue with master teacher involvement to help you remember in a safe, practical way. When you look around you again, you find that you are near the ceiling of where you live, looking down on your body. Your eyes could be open or closed, but if they're closed, then you're seeing all this in your creative imagination, which is your ability as an Atma to see into the universe and know things. It's not stored in your brain. What you're being asked to do now is to put the effort out to bring back the awareness of this journey. Don't attempt to store it in your brain. It won't fit there. Store it in the field of energy. It looks like an electromagnetic field, like the electromagnetic field you can find by Googling it on Earth that surrounds the planet. The same kind of thing surrounds you as a spherical being hovering above your body, and it surrounds your physical body. This memory of this journey is stored out in that field. Therefore, after you go on this journey, you can pull that image up, look at it, and go on the journey again and explore it further. The energy that moves down through the sphere you are and into your body and out into that field continues out into the planet Earth. It goes through certain structures that have been stationed on Earth. There are 3 pyramids, 2 at the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans and 1 inside a hollowed out interior of a mountain in the Himalayas. And it goes out to a pyramid very large that's stationed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter. And then it's beamed out into even larger ones that have been being brought into creation between individual stars. And it goes back to the core, the white golden shaft of light that runs up the central shaft of the galaxy. And then it returns to the source. It's always in movement, always moving through us. We are comprised and made of the same energy. It is the hue. When you're ready, open your eyes. You're going to come back, Perry? She went to sleep and is still gone. Sometimes this happens. She may still be out there experiencing something. So here's what I'll do. I'll say thank you, Perry, for hosting this show. One of many we've had over the last 4 or 5 years or more. And I will wish everybody that went on this journey or that goes on it from finding it on her YouTube channel, I wish you this. See you all lighter, freer than you are now. Thank you for having me here.